drone, but security isn't having it. They immediately tell him he's not allowed to film, despite having no legal authority to stop him. Instead of knowing the law, they call the police, hoping officers will back them up. When the police arrive, things go from bad to worse. One officer is completely out of his depth, exposing his lack of knowledge on public photography laws and making a fool of himself on camera.
I am going to fly the drone over now. I'm going to just take off.
No, you're not.
Absolutely.
You're not allowed. There's overhead lines, power lines. It's against the law. You do that, we'll phone the police and you'll be arrested.
Oh, don't phone police. Come on, that'd be silly, wouldn't it? I will be quick, I promise. I'll fly over and you'll just see it go across a few times and I won't be long, yeah? See my drone licence?
Yeah.
You don't need to...
Flying it over our facility, I need to see your licence.
You don't need to see my licence. Why would you need to see my licence?
Property, and we've got intellectual property on that facility.
I'm about to take it over now.
You're not taking it over.
I'm definitely...
Phone the police.
Don't phone police. Come on, that's silly, isn't it? Just for a bit of drone footage.
Yeah.
Come on, don't be silly. Come on. Got two of them now.
Stop filming as well.
But, come on, don't be like that. Come on.
You've been asked politely 3 times.
You at 999 in that, are you? Oh, are you kidding? Ring 101, that'll take ages, 101, won't it? But so I'm going to take it off soon, but don't...
Okay, do you want to tell me then what you've been doing? I'm not going to tell you. Anything I don't need to tell you, okay? You just come here and just accost me. For nothing, we got guys out there shouting through he needs to delete that. Footage, yes, I need to delete my footage. Right, is that what you're saying there? Are basically 3 rules with filming. Very similar to the use of CCV here. We go, come on, if you're filming yourself. You can do what you like, oh, yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, you filming me, you can do what you like, I don't mind, yeah. That's fine, more than welcome to, okay. Yeah, if you filming a private space, so if you're filming well. Initially, if you're filming a public space, you can do, but you need to be willing to show that footage to whoever asks. You also need to comply with the Data Protection Act, which means that need to be willing to delete that footage that they're asking for.
There are basically 3 rules with filming, very similar to the use of CCTV. Yeah?
Here we go, come on.
If you're filming yourself, you can do what you like.
Ooh, yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, you're filming me, you can do what you like, I don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
More than welcome to. Okay?
Yeah.
If you're filming a private space, so if you are filming, well, initially if you're filming a public space, you can do, but you need to be willing to show that footage to whoever asks. You also need to comply with the Data Protection Act, which means that you need to be willing to delete that footage should they ask you to.
The officer claims that if someone is filming a public space, they must be willing to show the footage to whoever asks and comply with the Data Protection Act by deleting it if requested. This is completely false and a shocking display of ignorance. The Data Protection...
Yes, no, yeah, you got that all wrong, H. No, I haven't, of course, you have no I. Haven't because it's by data. Protection, right? Can I just explain? I'll tell you that I'll let you. No, then yet data protection only applies to businesses. It doesn't apply to individuals. There you go. Look, that's your first mistake. Yet it does apply to IND individuals. And if you're saying it only applies to business, that's a business and never ask you to delete it. No, I'm not a business store, so I don't have to delete it, right? You dear talking rubbish on the camera. Ask you to your talking rubbish on camera because otherwise, no, I'm not talking rubbish because otherwise what you're doing is surveillance. Have you got a ripper? Have you applied for a ripper? Do you know what a ripper is? What sort of ripper? What's a ripper? A ripper is the paperwork to allow you to do surveillance, which is what you're doing that.
A ripper is the paperwork to allow you to do surveillance, which is what you're doing with that.
The Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000, also known as RIPA, applies to covert surveillance conducted by public bodies such as law enforcement, intelligence agencies, and local councils. It is used to authorize undercover operations, monitoring communications, or surveillance for criminal investigations. A private individual filming in public for their own purposes, whether for journalism, personal interest, or YouTube content, is not subject to RIPA. There is no law that requires a private citizen to obtain authorization to film from a public space. If that were the case, every tourist, journalist, or vlogger with a camera would be committing an offense. This officer is so bad that he is throwing around laws that don't even apply, hoping to
Surveillance, that's I'm doing aerial. Photography, yeah, which is surveillance. Surveillance, can you identify yourself? Please, you just W up to me. Thank you very much, okay? So what you are doing is surveillance, you've just said you're taking photographs, you said. That confirmed anything, right? That's a form of surveillance, you're telling me that. You're filming that you filmed over. There, that is a company they've asking. To delete the footage of what you filming of what you filmed, there are you refusing to do so, well, obviously there's nobody, no nobody. I'll tell you what I'll let you know what. I'll let you know the law right here. Only a CT can make me delete that footage, right? Yeah.
UK law, there is no legal obligation for a private individual to delete footage just because someone asks. The only way lawfully obtained footage can be forcibly deleted is through a court order or legal warrant. The police cannot demand deletion unless they seize the footage as part of a criminal investigation under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984, also known as PACE. Even then, it must be justified by an actual offence, which is not the case here. Additionally, any attempt to force deletion outside of legal channels could be considered unlawful interference with evidence or even misuse of police powers.
Right.
There you go. So you can't delete it, you can't ask me to,
Right.
well you can ask me to, but I don't have
There
to.
is a government ombudsman that deals with footage like that.
Lovely.
Surveillance, that's I'm doing aerial. Photography, yeah, which is surveillance. Surveillance, can you identify yourself? Please, you just W up to me. Thank you very much, okay? So what you are doing is surveillance, you've just said you're taking photographs, you said. That confirmed anything, right? That's a form of surveillance, you're telling me that. You're filming that you filmed over. There, that is a company they've asking. To delete the footage of what you filming of what you filmed, there are you refusing to do so, well, obviously there's
Commissioner's office that enforce data protection laws, but these laws apply to businesses and organizations that process personal data, not private individuals filming in public. Secondly, as previously stated, surveillance laws such as RIPA apply to public authorities conducting covert operations. There is absolutely no legal requirement for an individual to obtain authorization to film in public, nor does any ombudsman have the power to prosecute someone simply for recording a factory from a lawful position. Lastly, the claim that the auditor could be fined hundreds of thousands of pounds is pure fiction. The only time such fines apply.
right there. You go, you can't delete it, you can't ask me to, well, you can ask me to about that. There's a government husband that deals with footage like that, okay? Yeah, they can take you to court, certainly, and they will prosecute you and they will find you, and it is hundreds of thousands of PS because it's the same rules and regulations that we use for surveillance. What I would say is all I would say is good luck. Try to get £100,000 out of me. I literally got you paid that then. It's a prison sentence, then, isn't it? Prison, God, I don't want to get in prison.
But what? Listen,
Right,
what
for
law?
breach of data protection.
That's not. So, you're under arrest for breach of data protection.
Right.
Yeah. You don't have to say anything when questioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Under arrest for data protection. Oh my God.
This claim is not just incorrect, it's outright misleading. The Data Protection Act regulates how businesses and organizations handle personal data, not how a private individual records in public. There is no legal basis for arresting someone simply for filming from a lawful position. Even if a business were to violate data protection laws, the consequences would be civil penalties or regulatory enforcement.
Well, I'm asking you nicely, will you delete the footage that you filmed over? There you can ask, can't you? I can. Ask I've not confirmed or denied where. I'm going to delete the footage, will you? Delete the footage. Please, what would you do if I don't? Delete the footage, I'm going back over. In a minute, the drone's going back up in. A minute? Okay, well, we can get officers here to arrest you and take you away. Arrest me for what, go what, listen what? Your data protection that you're under arrest. For breach of data protection, yeah, you don't have to say anything when. Question, yeah, under arrest for data prod. Oh my God.
She'll just walk off like, and that'll be it, get in the car and go. Are you going to go now so I can finish my drone footage?
No, I'm not.
You're not going to go?
No, I'm not. No, you seem to be enjoying filming me, so...
This is crazy. So, are you going to waste police time just by standing here?
Yeah. Yeah, because you're intent on doing that, so...
I'm not intent on wasting police time. I'd like you to go so I can finish my drone footage.
Yeah. Well, I've asked you to delete the footage, I've asked you to show me the footage, you refused both.
The auditor asks if the officer is going to leave, but instead of walking away, he flat out refuses, even admitting he's deliberately wasting police time by staying put. To make matters worse, he boldly states that he won't leave until the footage is deleted, despite having zero legal authority to enforce such a demand. At this point,
Can I just say you're talking nonsense, you really are talking. Nonsense when the actual police officer gets here if I bother. Waiting for him, I might just get the footage now and drive off on my bike. Right. You know, I might just do that. But we'll see anyway, I'll tell you. We'll wait for the officer to come. And he will tell you you're talking. Absolute nonsense, you'll just walk off And that'll be it. Get and go are you. Going to go now, so I can finish me. Drawing footage, no, I'm not, you're not. Going to go, no, I'm not, no, you seem to be. Enjoying filming me. So this is crazy, so are you going to waste police time just by standing here? Yeah, because you're intent on doing. That's so I'm not intent on wasting place. Time I'd like you to go so I could finish me drone footage while I've asked you to delete the footage I've asked you. To tell me the footage you refuse both.
You guys have come here telling me I'm committing an offence.
Yep.
And now you stood there and you won't leave,
Right.
and you've admitted that you're going to stand here wasting police time.
Right, okay.
Crazy. We're in a really crazy situation here.
Okay. I've asked to see the footage. Why aren't you going to show me the footage?
I don't have to. I don't have to, and I don't want to.
Right.
I've got more footage to get yet. You know what I mean? I've literally got. I'm running out of time to get all this droned over. I've got some other places I need to get to.
If you've filmed somebody and somebody asks you to then delete it, you have to be willing to at least show them with it and explain why you're not going to delete it, and explain to someone in authority.
Under what law? That ends the conversation, doesn't it? Really, under what law? If you explain to me the laws that require me to do something, if you explain to me the law that requires me to do something, I will do it.
this is absolute nonsense and has no legal basis whatsoever. There is no law in the UK that requires a private individual to show their footage to anyone, explain why they won't delete it, or seek approval from an officer. This moment perfectly exposes how officers often make up rules on the spot, relying on authority rather than legality to pressure compliance. This officer is not just misinformed, he's spreading misinformation which could lead to countless other unlawful demands in the future. Now in the video, a police constable arrives, having been requested by the PCSO, who had already embarrassed himself with his lack of legal knowledge.
Have you flown in over the factory?
I'd rather not say, but I plan to.
I don't really want to write, and you've not even explained yourself as to why. You don't want to, I just don't just. Don't feel like it. Yeah, what did you have for breakfast? This morning, why did you have it, you? Know what I mean, okay, and as I said, you don't feel like you're being completely obstructive, I've been completely reasonable with you. I've spoken to you. Can I just explain to you the situation? I'm high level point of view, right? Here I'm stood in a public place. This is a public place. Yeah, I'm filming from A. Public place, I'm flying my drone from A. Public place, I'm abiding by all the drone laws, right? I'm abiding by all the filming laws, right? You guys have come here telling me I'm committing an offense, and now you stood there and you bought leave, and you've admitted that. You're going to stand there wasting police time, right? Okay, crazy, we're in a really crazy situation here. I've often see the footage. Why aren't you going to show me the footage? I don't have to. And I don't want I've got more footage to get yet. You know what I mean? I've literally got, I'm running out of time to get all this drawn over. I've got some other places I need to get to. If you film somebody and somebody asks you to then delete it, you have to be willing to At least show them with it and explain why. You're not going to delete it and explain to someone in authority under. What? Law? That ends the conversation. It really under what law if you explain to me the laws that require me to do something, if you explain to me the law that requires me to do something, I will do it.
There's no
How would you feel if somebody encroached into your private home and started filming you?
yeah, that's different. Yeah, that's residential. So if you
it is, but it's still private.
if you fly over somebody's residential house and you're like looking in the windows or something, that's covered under privacy laws.
The officer's argument completely ignores the legal distinction between residential privacy laws and public airspace regulations. Instead of acknowledging the clear differences, he's trying to appeal to emotion rather than fact. The auditor, however, knows the law and isn't falling for it. This distinction is made clear under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act 1998, which protects the right to private and family life, specifically ensuring that individuals inside their homes have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Filming directly into someone's private residence could be considered.
Here, cuz, if let me just tell you, this right, I'm not stupid, right? If I were committing a crime, yeah, I would have been on my toes now on that little bike, and nobody would have seen me, but I'm not committing a crime, that's why I'm still standing here. I just want to prove to everybody that I don't think you have committed a crime. You be on exactly I've got to try and work with you, yeah, you can in terms of when you're flying a drone in public like you're doing now, you film. Anywhere can stop you have to film what you want, which isn't an issue, however. Once you cross over the border into some factor out past private property. Into it, yeah, but there's not how. How would you feel there? Somebody encroached into your private home and start filing you, yeah, that's different, yeah, that's residential. So if you fly over somebody's residential house and you're like looking in the windows or something, that's covered under privacy laws.
Areas where drones are not permitted include flight restriction zones near airports, sensitive government sites, and areas with specific airspace restrictions due to safety or security concerns. Outside of these zones, drone operators can legally fly as long as they follow CAA regulations, such as maintaining visual line of sight and avoiding dangerously low flights over people. This exchange perfectly illustrates the ongoing issue of police officers enforcing laws they don't understand. Rather than checking the legal framework before speaking, the officer wrongly assumed that the company had authority over the airspace, when in reality, they have none at all.
Right.
So, for instance, prisons and airports, there's controls in place.
You're right.
Yeah. So you can't.
If you're flying over like a business or something like that, just getting some aerial footage and whatnot, there's no. You're supposed to seek authority from them first. They're private property, but that's an opinion. That's not a fact. It's private property. Get per I tell you what it is, a civil matter, and it is trespass. I'll tell you what you've been. So nice to me when you come over, kept your distance or whatever. I'll let you know, 'cause I know a bit more about you than the drone laws. Yeah, basically I can fly over there with this sub 250 drone. I can fly over the private property, and that's because they do not control the airspace, or on the airspace the Civil Aviation Authority controls and owns the airspace. And there are no check before I launch. There are no controls and an SP in place over there, over this airspace here.
We don't have any power over him.
The auditor has a solid point. If officers truly want to prevent unnecessary call-outs, the best course of action would be to correct the business's misunderstanding and explain that public filming and drone use is not a police matter. Instead, many officers choose to engage in unnecessary debates with lawful auditors, reinforcing the business's false belief that something illegal is happening. By failing to properly educate businesses, police set themselves up for repeated incidents like this, where officers are deployed over lawful activity rather than focusing on actual crimes. This isn't just a waste of resources, it creates ongoing confusion that could be avoided with a few minutes of education.
Basically, I know, yeah.
I say I've not got an issue with you.
So for instance, prisons and airports there's a controls in place, yeah. Yeah, so you can't fly over them because the Civil Aviation Authority says you can't, and it's actually a crime to do that. whereas the airspace over this facility here is not owned by. This facility, they can't tell me whether or not I can fly something over or not. It's literally owned and controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority and theirs. No controls in place. Have you finished for today? Nearly. I have got a little bit more on when these two arrived. I had to stop filming because I just wanted to have a quick chat with them, just to make sure they weren't going to jump me or out not really know that. Yeah, I didn't think. So I just fur we not. Those type of people, you got a job to do. Somebody raises concerns, we come to speak to get absolutely yeah, what you'd be best off doing, just nipping in and just telling them what he's doing is completely legal. That would be your job today. Literally just go in and just say, look, I know you might not like it, but what he's doing is completely legal. We haven't got any jurisdiction. The guy's not committed a crime, so we don't have any power over him.
In a public place.
Yep.
This is a public place. Yep.
Yep.
I'm filming from a public place. I'm flying my drone from a public place. I'm abiding by all the drone laws.
Right.
I'm abiding by all the filming laws.
Right.
You guys have come here telling me I'm committing an offence.
Yep.
And now you stood there and you won't leave.
Right.
And you've admitted that you're going to stand here wasting police time.
Right. Okay.
Crazy. We're in a really crazy situation here.
Okay. I've asked to see the footage. Why aren't you going to show me the footage?
I don't have to. I don't have to and I don't want to.
Right.
I've got more footage to get yet. You know what I mean? I've literally got. I'm running out of time to get all this droned over. I've got some other places I need to get to.
If you film somebody and somebody asks you to then delete it, you have to be willing to at least show them with it and explain why you're not going to delete it, and explain to someone in authority.
Under what law? That ends the conversation, doesn't it? Really, under what law? If you explain to me the laws that require me to do something, if you explain to me the law that requires me to do something, I will do it.
This is absolute nonsense and has no legal basis.
Basically, and I say I've not got an issue with. You see, they don't always give your name right. Oh no, definitely not no thank you. There we go, guys. This guy knows a little bit more about policing in the PCSR, which I'm not surprised about. Really, I mean, we're only trying to best out.
Have you flown it over the factory?
I'd rather not say, but I plan to.
You plan to?
Yeah.
Right. Do you have permission to fly over there with it being private property?
What permission? This is what I've just been through with these guys. What permission do I need?
It's classed as private property there, so it's classed as trespass.
It's not classed as trespass. If it is classed as a trespass, if I were flying low.
There with the officer finally stepping away and ending the interaction. It marks the end of yet another encounter where police fail to uphold the law correctly from a moment. Security called 999 over legal activity. The situation was a waste of police resources driven by misinformation and poor understanding of public photography and drone laws. The PCSO in particular stood out for all the wrong reasons. His lack of authority and knowledge was painfully obvious as he made up laws on the spot, falsely claimed data protection laws applied to a private individual, and even suggested that officers could arrest the auditor, all without any legal basis. It was clear he had no clue what he was talking about, proving that he desperately needs proper training before being allowed to engage with the public. Instead of helping to de-escalate the situation, he only made it worse. In the end, this entire situation could have been avoided if the business had been properly educated on drone laws and public photography. Instead, the police reinforced their confusion and wasted time engaging in a pointless back and forth over something that was never a crime to begin with. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check out Northern Audit's. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next one.